Hello everyone, I'm Rohit Gurjar and I'm going to talk about improved explicit hitting set. In other words, improved black box polynomial identity testing for read once arithmetic branching programs. And this is a joint work with Zeu Go. So let me start by introducing the polynomial identity testing problem. So it's a fundamental problem in the area of de-randomization. So what does it ask? So you're given a polynomial, let's say in multiple variables x1, x2 till xn, and the question is whether this given polynomial is zero or non-zero. So just for example, let's consider this first expression x plus y into x minus y minus x square plus y square. So you can simplify this expression and it can check that everything cancels out and this is actually equal to 0. On the other hand, the second expression is not equal to 0. So given such an expression in multiple variables with addition, subtraction and multiplication operations, our goal is to decide whether that expression is equal to a zero polynomial or a non-zero polynomial. Now, there are several ways one can be given a polynomial as an input. So one way is that this kind of expression, which is called as arithmetic formula, but there are also other ways like arithmetic circuits. There are arithmetic branching programs. Another way to give a polynomial is that you can be given a matrix, symbolic matrix, which has numbers and variables inside it, and then you are interested in the determinant of that matrix, which will be a polynomial. Okay, so what is known about polynomial identity testing? So there is a randomized polynomial identity test. So what it says is you just take your polynomial, evaluate it at a random point. So note that if you are given such an expression, it's easy to evaluate it over a point, right? If you can plug in values for x and for y, it's easy to evaluate. On the other hand, if you don't plug in values and just try to simplify such expressions, the size of those expressions might become huge, right? So that's the difference. You cannot directly try to simplify this, but if you plug in values, if you plug in numbers, then it might be manageable, right? So that's what this algorithm is saying, that you plug in random numbers for variables and then evaluate the polynomial. And what these results say is that a non-zero polynomial will evaluate to a non-zero value with very high probability. So that gives you a randomized algorithm to test whether a polynomial is zero or not. If you're interested in deterministic tests, where you are not allowed to use randomness, then such deterministic polynomial tests are not known till now, and that's a big open problem in the area of de-randomization. So efficient tests are known, but only for I mean deterministic tests, and only for very few special classes of polynomials. So for example, sparse polynomials, meaning polynomials with very few monomials, something called set multilinear circuits, something called bounded fan-in depth-free circuits, and something called ROABPs, which will be the focus of this talks. So these ROABPs or read-once arithmetic branching programs, the PIT for this model has been extensively studied in recent decade because it can be actually viewed as some kind of algebraic analog of pseudo-randomness for small space computation. In other words, this RL versus L question, and that's why it has generated a lot of interest. So let me try to explain what an ROABP is using an example. So an ROABP is given by an iterated matrix multiplication. So suppose you have n matrices. The first matrix has polynomials in variable x1, second matrix has polynomials in variable x2, and last matrix has has polynomials as entries in variable xn. So you have such matrices, you want to multiply them. Moreover, you have on the leftmost side a row matrix with constants, and on the right hand side, rightmost side, you have a column matrix again with constants, and that's an iterated matrix multiplication expression. And when you simplify it, you will get a single polynomial in n variables, and that's the polynomial which is supposed to be computed by this ROEP given by this iterated matrix multiplication. So let's formally define what's an ROEP. So Uh, it's a matrix multiplication, beta transpose F1, F2, Fn, gamma, where beta and gamma are R cross 1 matrices involving just constants. On the other hand, F1, F2, Fn are R cross R matrices and they involve variables. So each Fi involves polynomials in a single variable x pi I, where pi is just a permutation from n set of 1 to n to set of 1 to n. So this pi which permutes the variables is known as the variable order of the ROVP. For example, if your ROVP, if your first matrix, so suppose you have three variables and your matrix, first matrix uses variable x3, second matrix has x1, third matrix has x2, then your variable order is supposed to be x3, x1, x2. So here, this dimension r is supposed to be the width, it's said to be the width of the ROVP, and that's another parameter associated with the ROVP. So Raz and Shpilka gave the first polynomial identity testing algorithm for ROVPs. So note that it's not trivial. Even if you are given this matrices, you can't. It's not trivial to test whether the multiplication gives you a zero polynomial or not, because when you try to multiply out these matrices, you might get huge expression in intermediate computations, right? But still, Raj and Filka managed to give a polynomial time algorithm. Okay. So now let's talk about black box PIT. So what's black box PIT? So here you are not given the polynomial explicitly, but you are only allowed evaluations of the polynomial at points of your choice. So you can choose your points and evaluate the polynomial, and using that you want to decide whether the polynomial is zero or non-zero. So the randomized test we discussed was actually black box because it was not looking at the polynomial, it was just evaluating it at a random point. So if we are looking for a deterministic black box PIT, um, what it means is we want to evaluate the polynomial not at a random point but at some kind of pseudo random point. In other words, you can say that I want to evaluate the polynomial at a set of points, let's call it hitting set, um, with the property that the polynomial evaluates to non-zero at least one of the points in the hitting set, right? So that's the definition of the hitting set, and I want an explicit hitting set, meaning that points in the hitting set should be efficiently computable. So that's what I mean by black box PIT. And so what is known about black box PIT for ROAVPs? So Forsman Shpilka gave a quasi-polynomial size hitting set for ROAVPs, assuming the variable order, meaning they are assuming that there is some fixed variable order, let's say x1, x2 till xn. Later on, it was also generalized to unknown variable order. So here you are not assuming anything about the order; it could be any order, but still you are able to give a hitting set for the ROAVP. But the polynomial size hitting set is still open. So on one hand, the polynomial size white box PIT is known by Raj and Shilka, but black box polynomial time PIT is still open. And this situation is somewhat similar to the space bounded pseudo randomness situation, the RL versus L situation, because there also the best known seed length is something like order log square n, but the ideal thing we want is order log n, and that's open. So the similar thing is here also. So when we discuss PIT for ROABPs, there are some parameters which are involved, and there are some variants of ROABPs which we need to discuss. So what are the parameters? So we have seen them already. So n is the number of variables, r is the width, and d is the individual degree for each variable in these matrices. Width is the matrix dimension, which is r. And what are the variants? So as we have talked, one variant is when you know the variable order. Another variant is when we don't know the variable order and you have to work with the assumption that the variable order could be anything, and the third variant is any order ROVP. So what this means is that so your given polynomial has an ROEP in every possible order of variables. So that's what we call as any order ROEPs. Lastly, there is this model of sum of several ROEPs with different possible orders. So just to be clear, the weakest model here is any order ROEP. Then the second weakest is known order, known variable order, and then the unknown variable order. And some of several ROVPs, again, you can talk about variable ordering known or unknown, but let's not go into that. Another variation which is possible is the field characteristic. So usually the results which are known depend on the characteristic, whether it's or large characteristic or it's a small characteristic. So we should keep this in mind. So what are our results? So what we do is for some of these variants, so for unknown order, for any order, for some of several ROVPs, and in various parameter regimes, we gave improved hitting set. We gave better size hitting sets. In particular, in unknown order and any order, and with zero characteristic, our dependence on degree D is only polynomial as opposed to other results which have quasi-polynomial dependence on degree D. Just to be clear, dependence on other parameters is still quasi-polynomial, just that on D it's polynomial. So this is somewhat analogous to a recent result in the Boolean setting, where for this pseudo-random generator, they had near polynomial dependence on the error, while on the other parameters, they were still quasi-polynomial. Okay, so now let's start talking about our results. So first, let's talk about unknown order variant. So here the best bound was NDR to the log n, that was known. What we do is we get d times nr to the log n by log n minus log r. So this is for zero or large characteristic. And you can clearly see that the dependence on d is polynomial. And so sorry, I think I forgot. Or maybe not. So this is fine. And even on N and R, the dependence is better than what was previously known. So this also subsumes improved hitting sets of Forsman-Spilka for known order. So for the known order case, Forsman-Spilka had a better hitting set than AGKS. But with our result, we are subsuming those results. And our results are for unknown orders. We are generalizing Forsman-Spilka. Note that, as we said before, dependence on D, we have polynomial dependence. The other two results did not have polynomial time dependence. So our result also improves a recent result of Bisht and Saxena. So this result was interesting. In the regime was n, the number of variables was very small. So in this regime, they gave polynomial in r to the n comma d. And you can see that our result is better than this because we have r to the log n instead of r to the n. We also have improvements in small characteristic regime, but I'm not going into those details. Lastly, there was a result by GK17 for known order ROVPs, which had polynomial dependence on D. So it's better than our result, but note that it's only for known order, while our result is for unknown order. So our result in that sense not comparable with GKS17. Second variant we considered was sum of constantly many ROVPs. In particular, this was most interesting when the number of variables is small, which is like order log d. In terms of the degree, it's logarithmic of the degree, and the characteristic is zero or large. That's the most interesting setting for us. And here, the earlier result by Bisht and Saxena was that they had polynomial in R to the log D, while we can get polynomial in D times R to the log D. So that's clearly better. And one way to put it is that if you want the hitting set size to be polynomial in D, then the value of R you can afford, we can afford much larger compared to BS20. They can afford R to be only a constant, we can afford it to be a larger. Again, we subsume BS20 results for arbitrary characteristic also. I'm not going into those details. Lastly, for any order ROBPs, we have some improved results. So the previous best was poly in NDR to the log R, while what we do is over 0 and large characteristic, we get poly in N comma D and R to the log R. So the dependence on R is same, but dependence on N and D has been significantly improved. For arbitrary characteristics also we improve this previous known result, but the details are not easy to describe. Okay, so now that's it for the results. Now let me describe the main proof techniques. So we use several existing techniques from all these papers, sequence of papers, Force, Shpilka, Agrawal, Gurjar, Korwar, Saxena, Gurjar, Korwar, Saxena, Gurjar, Korwar, Saxena, Thurov, Bisht and Saxena. And we combine them with our main three ideas. So what are these three ideas? So first is low degree concentration via random shift. So what does this mean? So if you go back to ROABPs, so we have FIs which are matrices in a single variable xi. Uh, so these can be also viewed as polynomials in matrix valued coefficients. So in other words, it's a polynomial over matrix algebra. So when you see it a polynomial over this algebra, the coefficient come from this vector space of R cross R dimension. Then low degree concentration we want to achieve via random shift. So we will replace each xi by xi plus alpha for a random number alpha. And the property we want after this change is that Fi of xi plus alpha is now low degree concentrated, meaning all its coefficients should be in the span of low degree coefficients, right? So low degree monomial coefficients. So that's what we mean by low degree coefficients. And this span, I mean, is in the over the vector space of R cross R dimensions. So because of this idea, we essentially reduce the degree from d to r square. So if degree is much larger than r square, then this is useful. So such ideas of shifting and concentrations were used in many of these papers, but mostly for multivariate setting, and here we are using it for univariate setting. Uh, Second idea we use is merging multiple parts at each level of recursion. So in many of the pseudo-randomness construction, or maybe for example Nissan and Impaglioso, Nissan Wigderson, and also in Force-Pilka and AGKS 15 for ROABPs, the main technique was divide and conquer. So you divide your ROABP in two parts. For each part, you design your PIT separately and then combine them. So, so this divide and conquer, instead of the dividing into two parts, you can divide into k parts. So instead of a binary tree, you can get a k-ary tree, and then you can optimize on this number k and get some improvements. So that's what we are doing here. And the third idea is the reducing the number of variables via hashing. So the hitting set of ASS 13 and FSS 14, they use low support concentration. So one of the steps is that they achieve support concentration, which just means that again for a polynomial over the matrix algebra, the coefficients of all monomials are dependent on coefficients of monomials with low support. Low support meaning monomials with only few variables. Mm, so what they proved ASS 13 was that this low support concentration is somehow a local property. The local property in the sense that if you just achieve low support concentration in the sub ROAVPs, so sub ROAVPs which just involve order log R variables. So if you just prove low support concentration for these sub ROAVPs for all of them, then you get it for the whole ROVP, the big ROVP, and that's the main idea they used. So what we do is we further exploit this locality and we combine it with the hash functions, and basically this reduces the number of variables from n to polylog r, which gives us the desired improvements. So that's it for the techniques, and let's move on to the open questions. So we have many results where there is a significant gap between characteristic 0 and finite characteristic. Uh, so we would like to fill this gap. Secondly, uh, the polynomial size hitting set for ROVPs, that's a big open question. Uh, and even if you assume that the number of variables is very small, let's say logarithmic in number of uh, va- uh, in the width, even then it's open. So I would like to point out that this polynomial size hitting set for ROVPs is also interesting because if you can get such hitting sets, maybe it can give ideas for obtaining optimal pseudo randomness for log space computation, because there is this analogy between the two um, arithmetic world and the Boolean world. So that's it for this presentation. Thank you for listening.